I am writing this while in a state of strange calm. I had a dream today, a vision, if you will. I saw myself as if from the outside. This person didn't look like me, but it was just embedded in my head that it was me. I was dressed in a dark long robe. The cold wind fluttered the hem of trench coat and stabbed my skin. Drops of freezing water formed and quickly rolled off my hand, which clutched the grey railing as best they could. I was standing on a metal bridge that was the outside of some kind of structure. Behind me was an imposing looking closed door. I was surrounded by a light vapor that prevented my vision from seeing where I was. For a few more minutes I stood like that, trying to hold on, clutching every part of my body, waiting for the unknown. The fog turned out to be a cloud, and the bridge turned out to be attached to some sort of flying machine. The cloud, slowly rising, left a thick haze in the open slits of the machinery and drew away thin threads of cloudy substance from it, which then quickly dissolved into the air. The roar of the wind now drowned out the scraping of metal and machinery, the giant wings humming as they bent under their own weight. I had always been fascinated by such structures, impossibly huge but smoothly working, cold mechanisms that performed impossible tasks and elevated performance to the absolute. Before my vision could get a good look at the flying cruiser, it lowered enough for me to see the incredible size of the city stretching to all edges of the horizon. The buildings looked strange. Most of the houses were not taller than 5 stories, but some were unnaturally towering, being many times larger. The lights in the windows of the houses were constantly turning on and off, creating bizarre, mesmerizing patterns. Cars drove between the houses so fast that only light could be seen from them, as if it were a speeding movie. The descent had stopped, and now I was just flying over the buildings in an uncertain direction. That ship seemed like looking for something. It turned frequently, shaking and causing a restless rumble that violently yanked every particle of air out of its place. After a while, the target was found after all. One area of the city looked completely different. This city was producing many times less light, but was constantly growing and taking over the houses around it. These houses then grew darker and after a couple moments merged into a mass inordinately greedily taking over the space. I raised my hand and pointed into the area I had found. The ship fired without the slightest hesitation. The cold wind was replaced by a stifling calm. The ship began to rise slowly, but I could feel it. I could see it. The burning house no longer strove to rise, but only gave off the smell of vaporizing metal. But this sight of horror didn't make me anxious, it made me ecstatic, like after defeating an enemy that doesn't respect you, like after solving a problem insatiable to your time. I woke up. The white paint on the hospital walls was orange because of the winter sun outside the window. It was quiet, and a thick, hard blanket was covering me. And when I decided to look around, I found that on the nightstand next to my bed was a certificate that said a small malignant tumor had been removed from my head. Well,